Hey everyone, welcome back to AFTV. Welcome to the Starting 11 show. It's Liverpool versus Anfield.
It might as well be.
Anfield. Do you know what? It feels like that a bit, doesn't it? It's
an indication of how nervous you are.
Yeah, a little bit. I've kind of bottled the start. Let's hope Arsenal don't bottle the start. But let's welcome the whole panel, everyone. Big round of applause.
Watch along party!
It is a watch party.
Charlene's on the champers already.
Just water, darling.
This is actually Charlene. This could be our home.
24/7 now.
This is true, yeah. Well, let's welcome everyone. Of course, we have Dan Potts to my right. How are you doing, Dan?
I'm good, man. I'm quietly confident, but the nerves are going to start settling in, bro. But looking forward to it, man.
Yeah, let's welcome for his AFTV debut, we have Rory. Of course, a lot of you will know Rory from TikTok content, YouTube as well.
Yeah, started. Just buzzing to be here. Absolute honour, and hoping to kick off the debut with a win. Otherwise, I'll never come back.
Big up, man.
When I joined AFTV, we went through that autumn patch, and we didn't win a game. And I thought I'm the problem.
But I'm gonna get sacked.
we just about. Welcome Kwame as well.
Yeah, I'm good, brother. I'm good. No, I'm feeling good. I'm feeling good, confident. I believe in the boys.
Yeah,
you know?
good. I think they've earned that.
Yeah.
Welcome, Liv. How are you, Liv?
Woke up nervous, but just got to put myself in that mode like I'm in Anfield. That's it. Do you get me? Just get behind the boys. Simple as that.
Yeah, I hear that. And of course, Gunali in the building.
I am nervous, I'll be honest. I am. I just, I think the boys are good enough, but let's just see, man. Any given Sunday, they say, right? Anything can happen. So let's just hope that they pull through.
Yep. And she's here already. Charlotte. You good?
I am super excited today, honestly. I really feel like we are going to turn up at Anfield today and get a result. 3 points incoming.
And Laurie, you're feeling just as confident. Welcome,
And I'm glad that I'm sat behind my boy here, who I recently renamed BFG. Big fucking Gunali in the building. BFG, what's wrong with it?
He did. He's going to stick. He did.
BFG Lean it.
Well, Laurie. As well.
I thought it was Big Friendly Giant.
Oh, yeah.
Big fucking Gunali.
I think that's the first time I've heard you swear.
Is it?
That's how you know he's secretly nervous.
Exactly.
No, I'm keenly in anticipation today. I actually believe that we can get a result.
Yeah.
I've been saying it for a few weeks now, and I genuinely believe it.
I think a lot of us do. We're going to explore all that in a sec. Of course, welcome to everyone in the comment section who's joining us live, whether it be on YouTube, on Twitch as well. Get in the comment section, let us know your thoughts ahead of the game. Plenty to discuss, from holding, is Saliba secretly fit? I was thinking a little something, but I'm not sure now. We'll discuss that all in a bit. Of course, does Trossard start? We're going to find out all that in about 25 minutes or so. Before we do, big thanks to NordVPN who are powering this watch along. As always, they are amazing. Go support them. You can be invincible with their AFTV special, 4 months free on a 2-year plan. And there's a 30-day money-back guarantee. Click the link in the description or scan the QR code for the AFTV special.
It's somewhere in London and it's looking pretty red. Lee Judges is attempting to score some new content. He's got to get past a hacker, malware and password attacks. Lee takes off. But look, the hacker sends password attacks towards Lee. He's dispossessed of all his passwords and data. He goes again, but he's hacked to the ground. Look at Lee's in pain and they're mocking him. Wait, he's got a last minute transfer deal. He's got NordVPN on his team now. I mean, is that even legal? Oh, that's next generation encryption, absolutely blinding the opposition. And the fastest VPN on the planet flies past password attacks, takes down the ball and scores! That's fresh content on your favourite streaming services. You're protected on multiple devices, back of the net. Just change your location in the app. Go to nordvpn.com/AFTV now.
Welcome back, everyone. Now, we have just been discussing that according to Sky, William Saliba hasn't been spotted with the team. And look, I'm not going to lie, I never claimed to have any information or anything like that, but I was hopeful through the week. I felt that the way Arsenal were discussing the Saliba injury, I just had this feeling that he might be secretly available, but I think we'd have heard something by now. Livs, you said you'd mentally prepared yourself for the idea that Holding was going to play, and that looks like how we're going to approach it. And he's done well the last 2 games.
He has, I'll be real, he has. But obviously we're coming up against a different team here. You get a team that I've got a lot of experience, you know, at Anfield in big games. You know, they've got so much pace in that attack. They can hit us in transition. Obviously with Rob Holding, he's not someone that, you know, we like to play with in a high line, you get. That's where teams can actually take advantage of that. With Saliba, we will be missing that recovery pace that he can give us, you know. And we also, his ball carrying ability. Obviously with Holding, he's going to need a bit more protection, I believe, especially with White tucking in a bit.
Does that suit us a little bit? Because Liverpool like an open game, they like, you know, spacing behind to attack. You know, Arsenal maybe might just drop into a bit of a shape. I don't know, Goonlee, do you think so?
Do you know what? I don't think we're going to change the way we play. And I always think about Rob Holding. I feel like he's like a year 9 or year 10 student taking his GCSEs early. And he's probably going to fail. I just feel like, yeah, he's had some good moments, but I just don't think that the level of opposition today is going to be adequate. And listen, I don't care whether people think I'm negative. I am nervous, but I still think that's a worry. Like, it is a worry. I did the watch along with Dan Potts when we played Man City. He played well against Haaland, but I'm not going to forget the other performances. And, you know, hopefully he can turn up.
Where was the last bad performance you've seen from Rob Holding?
I mean, I've not seen any real great performances other than the two. Okay, the 2 that we saw in the Premier League stand out really good. But as I said, we played Crystal Palace and we played Leeds. I mean, coincidentally, they're both on the TV and they're both shocking.
They're both drawing.
That's what Lee sounds
optimistic then.
Laurie, you're having a good laugh at that.
I'm not as worried as Lee is. I can understand his reservations about Holding, especially if we do adopt a high line. I don't think we should do that, especially if Nunes does play. You've got Salah and Nunes up front, 2 very quick
rumours
players.
of him being out as well.
Yeah,
He wasn't on the team.
So we might have to tinker with our tactics a little bit. But listen, Holding's come in. He's done good jobs before. I don't think he'll let us down today.
Yeah.
I think we'll play around it. I think it'll be fine.
Charlene, comfortable with it?
Do you know what? At the end of the day, he's our player. I think it's important that the whole team knows the importance of today's game and getting the 3 points. And it's all about the mentality and the mindset that the team go in with. And Holding's been doing amazing in the past couple games, filling in for Saliba. So I've got confidence and hope in him that he's going to, you know, be defensively solid and, yeah, shouldn't leak any goals.
Let me kind of develop it on a little bit, because if he wasn't going to be available for this game, looks like he's not. Why wouldn't Arteta just say it, Rory? And why wouldn't he just come out and just say, yeah, look, he's not available?
I think he's kind of been leveraging the unknown of it, because if the whole build-up for this week, Klopp is on one hand thinking that Saliba might play, maybe they're targeting Zinchenko instead and preparing to target Zinchenko instead of Rob Holding. Presumably now that it is Rob Holding playing, they'll target him. But I think it's difficult. With the system that we've built, any one player missing I don't think affects us too badly. So Holding will have the protection from Partey, from Gabriel, from Ben White. So I'm not fazed. I'm not fazed.
You were talking about the whole targeting Holding thing before the show. I thought it was really interesting.
Yeah, well, one thing you've got to remember is that Rob Holding, the bad games he has had, has normally been surrounded by Cedrics, Nuno Tavares, Lokongas, El Nenis. We don't see that this time round. And he's had really good games against Leeds and Palace. So it does fill me with confidence that we can get by with this game. What you don't want is Rob Holding in the side for 7-8 games for the rest of the season. In my opinion, you don't. Because we saw with Eddie when Jesus come in, it was like, this has been great, but we need you back now, Jesus. And I feel like we'll be saying that, where's Saliba in 7 games' time if we're still looking at Rob Holding. But I spoke to Clive, I can't take credit for this, but I spoke to Clive outside the ground after Palace, and he said, look...
From Arsenal Vision.
From Arsenal Vision, yeah. And I said to him, he said a great point. He said, when Rob Holding plays, they target Rob Holding. And that's great for us, because Gabriel's a wicked sweeper. If they were a bit clever and they targeted Gabriel, Rob Holding is not a good sweeper, and they'd be getting in. And I thought it was absolutely spot on. Yeah. And he said, I don't want to be telling Liverpool what to be doing, but if I was coaching, I wouldn't be targeting Holding, I'd be targeting Gabriel. Because once you take the Gabriel out of it, you've got Holding to come up against then. And he's not the best sweeper in the world, in my opinion. I think with Goonlee, what he's saying there in terms of Rob Holding this season, in the Europa League games, I haven't really been impressed by him. But again, he hasn't been in the first 11. He's been with the Fabio Vieiras and the Reece Nelsons and the Eddie Nketiahs.
Do you know?
So for me,
I will say
that's why I'm gonna.
add on as well is I think for me there is and shout out to Rory. I think there is a big difference when he plays because Saliba, you can leave two at the back, knowing that we can leave our two defenders against any of their attackers, and we feel comfortable with that. We also know that the way that we play out from the back, that's going to change. There's going to be no more long diagonal balls. I think of the goal against, who did we play in? I think it was Fulham. If you look at the goal, Saliba basically created that goal. He had a long raking ball out to the left-hand side. Zinchenko played it forward, and then we scored from there. So I think not only is it the defensive side of things, the high line and stuff like that, it's also the attacking phase of things, not being able to carry the ball marauded through the middle of the pitch and spray the ball out. So I think there are some really big points that Rory does make. But I also think that does change a lot of the way we play. But listen, man, as I said, I still got to back the boys, and
I think it's also fair. Sorry, if I could just add, right? I think it's fair to say that with Holding, it's important that the other members of the team, especially the defensive side of the team, acknowledge what are Holding's strengths and weaknesses and play accordingly. It's a team game. All of them have to be defensively responsible. So if you know that Holding is maybe lacking a little pace, a couple of the players around him need to be aware so they can pick up the runners. So stop Holding being isolated by the likes of Salah and people like that.
But this is what I wanted to actually ask you, Kwame, about, because I think us as fans, right, especially as Arsenal fans, we've had many years of pain. So I think we go in with this kind of stress about certain players or certain
it's trauma, isn't it? Past trauma.
I reckon the players themselves who play every day with each other, who train every day with each other, who know each other, I reckon they're much more relaxed about Rob Holding. I don't think any of them are sitting there going, God, I really wish Willow was next to me. Yes, they could probably recognise who the better players, but I don't think they carry that stress into games. They might tactically tweak things. You said we all laughed at it. We laughed about the fact that you said Ben White wasn't getting forward as much, and then he scored 30 seconds later. That might have been a bit by design. Just stay a little bit more tucked into Holding. So I don't think the players stress in the way we do.
No, that's because they spend the majority of the time with each other. Obviously, once you're amongst fellow players, you get to know their strengths and their weaknesses. So I hear what Laurie's saying, where he's saying obviously we've got to play to Rob Holding's strengths. They know it. They know exactly what it is. But I don't think that they're fussed about it. I think they're more worried about how are we going to go there, how are we going to press Liverpool, because that's what our game is based on, us pressing them. I know Liverpool are very good in the transition, what Liv was saying, but I think if we spend too much time worrying about Rob Holding, we've done this with Nketiah. Every game, and what's he going to do? Is he going to score? Is he going to score? Sometimes you just have to put faith in your players. And I feel that every player that has missed this season are big players. Someone has come in to fill their shoes. You understand? So that's where I have to back Arteta, and I back Rob Holding. You can tell that he loves Arsenal. He knows what it means. So he knows the pressure's on him. But I believe that we will we'll handle the pressure. I believe we'll handle the pressure.
Palace are just tearing Leeds apart.
That was a good goal. That was a good goal.
I mean, Ayew just scored a great header, and then Elise and Eze here. This is just. But it's really good football through the lines, isn't it?
This all through.
So should we give Holding more credit or less credit for this then? Well, because Palace,
Elise
is
great.
It's a really lovely.
Odegaard-esque. That is.
Without Zaha as well, 3-1.
Wow. I have to say as well, with Palace, right, one of the things that baffled me when Vieira was there is that man there, Eze, wasn't getting enough game time.
Agreed.
And I could never understand
Playing Jeffrey Schlupp ahead of Eze. I didn't get it.
Does it make sense?
Eze's come in, and he's been a big difference in his last couple of games. Now he's scored, but
For it's worth, I've already seen my first photoshopped Rob Holding's face on Maldini. So there we go. We're all willing it into existence. Let's talk about the front three, because I think we're all pretty comfortable with the rest of the side will be. But you've got hat-trick hero Trossard, who's already done the job at Anfield this season. You've got Jesus, who got his first start recently, and Saka and Martin feel undroppable. So how on earth, take the floor, someone. Where do we start with this?
Personally, for me, I'll just keep it normal, the normal front three, Jesus, Saka, Nelly. I feel like Martinelli, he's got to be targeting Trent, like 100%. He gave Trent a headache at the Emirates game. I think Jesus, what he can bring, his pressing ability, his ability to stretch out the two centre halves, you know, and also his ability to get involved in play in the final third helps a lot. Not only can he also score goals, but he can also create. He knows how to find space. When Martinelli or Saka can make an inside runs, he can find you. And I feel like as a front three, the balance is perfect. I know Trossard's done well, don't get me wrong. If Trossard does start, I can't complain because Trossard is a great player as well. But I feel like we've got to start strong. You know what I'm saying? And for me, that's the front three.
Yeah, hands up for Jesus, Saka, Martinelli.
It's got to be Jesus for me. It's got to be Jesus for me.
Sure, you disagree with me?
Yeah, do you know, I want Trossard to start.
Okay, over.
Jesus. I know it sounds wild. Oh, but God, this is such a tough one. Ideally, you do want Jesus to start, but where Trossard's gone to Anfield, you know, he was the third player to go there and get the hat-trick. I just feel like he needs to start this game. And then over on the right-hand side, I mean, it goes without saying that Saka has to start. And I absolutely love Martinelli's pace and everything that he brings over on that left-hand side. So that would be my starting front three.
Interesting. We got any different front threes here, or does Jesus?
I'll start Jesus and Saka, and I know Gunali won't like it, but I'll probably not start Martinelli, and I'll throw Trossard in. Yeah.
Seriously?
Yeah.
Wow,
For me, no, and it's not me discrediting Martinelli and his form or what I know he can do, but for me, it's like these are the games where you have to kind of throw curveballs. You don't want to be too predictable. And yeah, given what Charlene said as well about certain players, you know, there's certain players you can look through whole history and they're like, yeah, that's the ground. That ground there where I scored a goal. They turn up for certain occasions. You know, we was talking about Jota. Jota turns up against Arsenal. So for me, it's one of those things where, as a manager, I'll probably trust Trossard and say, you know what, go out there, enjoy yourself, do what you usually do. And then at least then
I didn't agree when he said it, but now I'm like,
and then at least I know that I've got Martinelli to then come on and finish off the job as well.
The only thing is, Martinelli's got a history of really turning up against Liverpool.
It's true.
Saka, can you really drop him? Jesus was Pep's go-to man, wasn't he?
Yeah, I think the thing for me is we're looking at it as like, you can't drop that person, you can't drop that person, as if it's like, as if you're dropping them.
Yeah.
I think tactically, you want the player coming off the bench, whichever of the four it is, to have a real big impact. The good thing with Trossard, he's an impact player, but also he can come on for any of the front three. So if any of the front three get injured or they're just not working out in the game, he's the one that you can put on the bench that all cross the front three, he can come on and have that impact.
I was going to say to you, like Rory, off your point, I mean, I spoke to you earlier on, well, I think actually it was last week, and was chatting about, I feel like Trossard is actually the one player who I think is sometimes a little bit least effective when he comes off the bench. I think he's better when he starts. He's more effective. He grows into the game. I know he's done a lot more. He's done well against the Man United. You know, when we beat them, I think he got the pre-assist or whatever it was, and he came off the bench against another team and he did really well. But I think you see the best of him in the Fulham game when he starts and he's part of the get-go. So I think it's really difficult for the front three today because of all the things that we've spoken about. You know, form, like the history of the players. Martinelli also scored against Liverpool earlier on in the season within 2 minutes. So I think that also needs to be a contributing factor. But I don't actually necessarily disagree with Kwame with the Martinelli thing. I could actually see Trossard starting. I don't think it's the wildest thing because let's be honest, they're all fantastic players.
I think it shows how far we've come.
There you go.
It's a good problem to have.
It shows how far we've come.
this head.
We all knew it was 11. This 11 starting. I hope none of them get injured. We've got nothing on the bench. Now we're talking about the players that can come in, and that's how far we've come. And it's interesting on Trossard. For me, I'll go on record to say I think it's the best January signing Arsenal have ever made.
Yeah.
Better than Aubameyang, better than Arshavin.
Reyes.
I look at what they've done. Like, even Reyes for me.
Think better than Arshavin,
Yeah. I think so.
Arshavin was crazy.
Arshavin, what did we win?
He started crazy.
He was
There was a lot of stuff
like,
mentally that I weren't a fan of
Lazy.
Arshavin with, a bit like Ozil. For me, okay player. I didn't look at him and go, wow, we're winning with him. I just thought if he turns up, we might be all right. And Aubameyang will know how that ended. So for me, I'll go on record as to say that. The other thing, it's extremely harsh to drop Trossard right now. It's extremely harsh. But I think he's going to, and I think I probably would. And that's the reality of it. When you're going for a title, you've got to be harsh. You've got to be ruthless. What do you think your 11 is going to be Liverpool. Martinelli has to play as far as I'm concerned because I think he's giving Trent nightmares. I think Jesus has to play because I think what we've done, James, is forgotten what we were like with Jesus until he's come back into the side.
Exactly.
I think people were forgetting. That's a huge compliment to Trossard, by the way.
Yeah.
And Eddie. Because we've forgotten what it's like. When he come on against the, I thought, wow, I've forgotten how good we were when Jesus was here. He has to play, man.
If you look at last week, the importance of Jesus is we didn't start that game against Leeds very well. In fact,
Agreed.
I would go as far as to say that it's arguable for the first 30 minutes, Leeds actually were a little bit better than us. The difference was Jesus. He's a real handful, and he's got those little bits of skill that can unlock defences. You saw the way he won that penalty, and you know, he went on to convert the penalty, scored another goal in that game too. To me, he's got to start. In our hierarchy of strikers, he has to be.
If you put it on paper, look, really simplistically, who's the best left winger at the club right now? It is Martinelli. Who's the best number 9, false number 9? Unfortunately, it is Jesus, or fortunately, wherever you want to go. And who's the best right winger? I mean, not even in the club,
in the
but
world.
in the world, I believe, is Saka. So if you look at it quite simplistic on paper, you need to go with that front three, but
and I do agree with what Rory says as well. Is
They've
that
got a great relationship as well.
it's
Martinelli and Jesus.
That's true.
it's not so much a case of dropping Trossard. It's more of a case of horses for courses. I think for this particular game, Jesus has to start.
I agree.
Trossard will, I'm sure, see some minutes in this game.
We talked about it on a tactical preview. Just if you're talking just having 3 pure dribblers as well. Actually, Liverpool's back 4 don't rank on an individual basis as doing particularly well against dribblers in games. So that would be interesting to see. We've got a poll running, 1,300 votes. It is 50% yes for Trossard to start, and obviously the other 50% no. I mean, everyone's split down the middle, which is unbelievable.
You know what it is though?
That
It's
just shows our
because of that
levels.
hat trick that he scored.
I think it might be.
That's a big factor.
As they say in
Factor.
football, it's a great problem to have.
Yeah, 100%.
But another thing as well, that like we should take into consideration is regarding starting Martinelli is, you see when Zinchenko comes inside, he comes into the midfield. There's so much space on that left-hand side, and Martinelli's pace to recover and just get back and support him is so much. Especially when they're trying to hit us on a break, you get.
You're right.
And especially with Salah as well. Who can catch Salah? Let's be real. It's one man, Martinelli.
Well, that's another thing that we didn't really mention is obviously Tomiyasu was called upon to do the Salah job in the home game. We don't have Tomiyasu available. Coutinho be turned to, but I feel like he's going to stick with Zinchenko because
100%.
Yeah, he will.
See, the difference there, James, as well, is I think if this is the old Liverpool 4 years ago, Tierney plays.
Yeah.
Because we're scared.
Exactly.
We've got to remember, these are the guys that are going to be scared of us right now. Yeah, I don't think anyone's talking about that. It's all about what do Arsenal do to try and stop Liverpool. Because it's at Anfield, blah, blah, blah. Let's play our game. Zinchenko will play this one. They'll be looking at Arsenal and they'll be fearing it. They will.
Just adding on that, just quickly about that point about Zinchenko, because the last game we didn't have Zinchenko, so Liverpool didn't really know. They're facing a different type of Arsenal, in the sense that I know that they've watched
They
tapes.
declined a lot.
Yeah. So it's going to be
true.
very interesting to see how they're able to handle the movement of Zinchenko and how he finds those spaces and his pass range and etc.
very true. Super chat from Facts Only says Qualms and Lee in the same watch along again. This is going to be peak like the last time. We need more watch
And then
alongs.
matching shirts.
Listen, man,
together.
Great minds.
He's my guy, he's my countryman as well. Come on, man. I ain't
What did you
never-
fall out about last time? Was
We
it the
didn't
Man
even
City
fall
game?
out.
We were a Man City game. No, we were just talking
we were
about
just
the
talking
fact
That
that
nearly had a scrap. What was it?
I was talking about how, like, if we bottled the league from that position, it's a crumble. And Crumbs was like, well, like, just got to back the team kind of thing, basically.
Fair enough. We've got 5 minutes till the 11 comes out. I don't really want to spend more than a couple of minutes on it because I don't want people to think, we're just all salty Arsenal fans because Tottenham won. But the PGMOL have come out and apologised to Brighton.
Ridiculous.
How good of
Oh,
them.
mate, that
Ridiculous.
Makes it all
They're a
better,
joke.
doesn't it?
They're absolute joke.
Absolute joke.
They are
Shocking.
jokes.
It doesn't make a change. Like, at the end of the day, you can apologise until I'm seeing something where they're saying, you know what, we're gonna have to give the points back or something like that,
Exactly.
or get rid of the referees.
Just do the job, though.
Exactly.
We'll spend more. We'll just spend more
It's
time.
just apologising.
Just spend more time if you have to. Like, don't rush it.
That's
like,
what people forget, yeah. There's no time limit. And like, obviously, there's moans and groans in the ground. We don't want them taking like 10 minutes to make a decision. But that Matone one, the step, I'm like, I've seen you spend 4 minutes looking at the wrong offside for the Brentford goal against us and then allow the goal when you shouldn't have. And you didn't look at this for more than 10 seconds.
Well, I'll tell you what, yesterday the Brentford I think it was the first goal from
Tony. Yeah,
they looked at that for 4 minutes and still got it wrong because the referee was right in front of him. That shouldn't have been a goal. So I don't actually get, like, the whole time limit thing doesn't actually make a difference. They're still getting it wrong, whether they put the lines up, whether they don't put the lines up, whether they take eternity, whether they don't. And it's also, you got to think, the fans' experience. Some of them don't actually have, you know, the kind of screens in the stadium.
No.
So they don't know what's going on. They don't know what their VAR's been looking for.
And that's the thing, Lee. People say scrap VAR, right? Don't scrap VAR. Scrap these absolute clowns using it. Because they can't use it. Yeah, they can't use it. It's actually quite a good system. The system is fine. It works. You can watch something.
The people
it's great.
behind it.
The people looking at it are absolutely hopeless. And it takes them 5 minutes to look at something. That Matoma one was a disgrace, by the way.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
You know what struck me about that is that it wasn't just the VAR. There was a series of really poor decisions that went against Brighton.
People not getting cards.
And I actually felt, and I've got no affiliation with Brighton, obviously, but I actually felt a measure of sympathy for them. I was like,
because we've been there
they've
before.
been really shafted.
We've been there before, but it's just, for me, it's just the thing where now each point is crucial. It doesn't matter, because I think it's this whole apology and like, well, we hold our hands up, we're sorry, but you don't know what those points will do for a team.
Exactly.
Do you know what I mean?
You know what else, yeah, Pam? Sorry to interrupt you, is that, like, sometimes I find myself, I was thinking about this a lot yesterday, thinking, like, I know we're a football channel talking about football, but it's football, right? Like, if humans make mistakes and, like, it happens, that's what they're thinking, like, fans get fleeced for, like, the price of season ticket price, or just any Premier League match, and
the travel,
the cost of travel, right? The cost of merchandise, whatever. Like, fans have to pay top dollar, and they do, and they step up and they turn up, right? All we ask is that the money that's going into the game, that we know the Premier League in particular has, when these things are happening, like, just try and get the best in class, or do something about it if they are constantly ruining the product because of the way they're using officiating. And the thing is, football is kind of, especially off the pitch, it's an unfair game. We know that there's stuff that goes on all the time. It's a dirty industry in a lot of ways, yeah? But the one, like, I don't think football fans complain about that too much. I think what we really want is just when you're on the pitch, 11 v 11, just, wow, great goal. Was that Edouard? This is unbelievable.
This is going to be a 6.
That's really my point, Edouard.
6 job.
When you're on the pitch, just use the VAR properly. Just try and get good referees that aren't the story. And sometimes they are going to get it wrong, yes. But, like, just a measure of fairness in the sense that you one decision gets checked for 5 minutes, the other doesn't. You can't help but feel hard done by. You don't think, human error. You feel like it's personal against you. And I don't believe it is. But fans shouldn't be feeling that way after games. And it's happening too often.
Communication is the biggest thing for me.
Yes.
We're at the point with VAR where, back before VAR, a referee would make a mistake. There's no point interviewing them after the game because they'll just say, well, I saw it once, or I didn't see it. But now that we know that they're looking at the same pictures that we are, 99% of people saw that Matoma foul, know it's a penalty. If the VAR in his head knows that after the game he's got to do an interview where he's going to be asked, why didn't you give that?
Yeah, great
if he's
point.
sat there thinking, right, how am I going to speak to
Justify
millions
this.
of people and say
on
that this isn't a penalty? And if they have to think about that at the time, I think it'll make them perform better. And even if it's not a post-match interview, even if it's we hear what they're saying, the full conversation that they're having with the referee. I just think
you also have to remember that the lack of competency of some of these people, these individuals have gone as far as forgetting to draw lines on a pitch, mate.
Yeah.
This is how bad it is. Yeah. So this is a shambles.
If you think about the reverse fixture, listen, we got fortunate because one of the goals that we scored, I believe the second goal was offside. Why was it not given? Because the VAR wasn't working, it wasn't on. So that's another thing. And you think about it, look, I hate Spurs with all my heart and even more of it. But you look at the game they played against Southampton, they were robbed in the last minute. So it's not really like down to the club thing.
It happens
just,
to every
Sorry to tell you guys, we're going to have the 11 out in just 1 second. Before we do, remember that NordVPN are keeping us invincible panels, AFTV Matchday Experience. There's a 30-day money-back guarantee. Click the link in the description or scan the QR code for the AFTV special. Line up out in just a second.
Wow, Lee, you're levitating.
NordVPN has made me one with the universe, Cecil. No more pop-ups, no malware, and I'm saving money exploring international prices. Also, all my devices are protected by next-generation encryption.
So you found peace?
Yes, Cecil. Just change your location in the app and transcend space and time.
Wow, I feel invincible.
Tell the nice people what to do.
Click the link, people. Click the link.
Well, welcome back. The 11 is out. Ramsdale starts in goal. A back four of Ben White. Rob Holding is in the 11. Gabriel and Zinchenko. A midfield three of Ødegaard, Partey and Xhaka. And a front three of Saka, Martinelli, and Gabriel Jesus. That is the Arsenal team at Anfield. On the bench, Matt Turner, Tierney, Walters, Kivior, Jorginho, Smith Rowe, Vieira, Nelson, and Trossard. Saliba doesn't make the bench. I'm sorry, everyone. I did think he was going to be involved, Saliba, but he's not.
No, it's too soon, man.
But you know, he plays mind games. That's Arteta, doesn't he? Clearly wasn't fit and available.
Yeah.
And I think they did everything possible to try and get him in the team, but he's not available. Rob Holding keeps his place. Let's hope he performs as he did in the last two games as well. The Liverpool 11: Alisson in goal. Trent Alexander-Arnold, Konate, Van Dijk and Robertson. Van Dijk, Robertson and Trent all returning to the back four. Fabinho, Henderson and Curtis Jones in the midfield.
You're cooking!
With Diogo Jota, Mo Salah and Cody Gakpo.
Hey, we have to win. We got this.
On the bench, Kelleher, Gomez, Thiago fit enough for the bench. Milner, Firmino, Elliott, Tsimikas, Nunez and Matic. That is the Liverpool 11.
You knew Jota would play against Arsenal. He always
But the missing...
Jones is surprised.
Yeah, he's not scored.
No Thiago as well, because Thiago controls games, and he done that against us.
Thiago on the bench.
Yeah, but he's on the bench now, so that's a good
There's
positive
no
for us.
Diaz though.
That as well,
No
yeah.
Diaz.
That's what work kind of worried me. I'll be wrong.
The Jones decision strikes me as I want to match Arsenal for energy. Rather than I'm going to try and control this
100%.
game like I would have done a year ago. What do you guys make of the 11s?
Do you know what? Listening to the team, I know everyone's very confident. I still think we can win, but I don't think it's going to be as easy as maybe some people think it is. I think Trent might have a good game today, actually. You know, sun's out, vitamin D, all of that stuff. He's at home.
Is the sun out in Liverpool?
Listen, sun's out in Liverpool. So listen, let's hope let's hope we turn up. That's all I ask.
Lauren?
It's a team I would have gone with. I'm confident. I'm looking for a statement win today. I've been saying it for weeks now. I think we can beat them. I did the watch along for DL Sports earlier in the week when Chelsea played Liverpool. I was very unimpressed, I have to say. Two mediocre teams. Not saying that Liverpool will be different today. It's a different energy, but nevertheless, man, I'm backing Arsenal to come away with a win today. I actually feel that.
Fair enough. Who here, hands up if you're going for a win? We're not going to do score predictions because I know...
After that line, I'm going for the win.
You hands up, Lee. You just said...
Look, you put it up. He's got like half up, lean up ready. Put it up properly.
Yeah. My hands up, but I am very... Listen, I do think it's going to be a lot harder than what people think. I do.
Did everyone feel like this before the North London derby, where we also hadn't won in ages?
I felt worse. I felt worse with the North London derby. I think this one...
I felt alright.
Yeah, no, I felt worse. Yeah. I was more nervous.
Do you think winning there has given you confidence that like we can overcome these kind of?
I think it's all the games. I think it's all the games where we've been doubted.
You know why? You can say that because that's another ground that we haven't won in what? 2020. What since? What was it? 2012.
2012. Yeah.
2012.
Since Arteta was playing.
Exactly. So that's the last time we won. And we've done it. Yeah. You feel me? So
what I would say, it's important that we get off to a good start, because one thing we don't want to do is concede early. Because
we want to shut the crowd up as well.
You need to try and nullify the crowd. And by doing that, we don't concede for the first 15. In fact, we try and score first.
Our record hasn't been good at Anfield in the past. The last time what we won is when Arteta was playing at Anfield. So
Derby Master.
Derby
Oxlade was on the bench, I believe, a 19-year-old. He's now 29.
But can I say, I honestly don't think players think about that stuff. I really don't.
No.
Well, they shouldn't be.
I do. I think they do.
How can you, if you're Gabriel Jesus or Salah, them man were barely born when that happened. You know what I mean? Seriously, you need to focus on.
You focus on it, but you use it.
You're not thinking about 2012 or what happened.
Yeah, but you use it. I'm pretty sure Arteta used it in his team talk, and he said, "Look, this happened in the past. This happened then. We're going to change history today." That's how he's going to inspire us.
Yeah,
do you get me? Yeah, man.
This game means so much for Arteta not only due to him as a player, but also as a manager. Like last season, what happened? Remember, he had that little touchline, little beef with Klopp.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? He put it in a documentary.
Yeah.
You get that?
Yeah, but
All
what
of
I'm
us,
saying, the
he
significance
has
of that
speakers
is-
of Liverpool Cologne.
Salah
This is big.
would have.
Do you think he'd do that again today?
No, but what did he say? What's that quote that you said earlier? He said you can't train players in the zoo.
In the zoo and go to the jungle.
Sunday.
I must admit that segment of when I saw the manager do that was so corny for me. That was
What? To do the never
speakers and all that.
I think it was
No, but
the
no,
only
it's
documentary.
Exactly.
This will go back. You will look back.
Testing the mind.
Listen, when we won back in 20, Saka probably wouldn't even have been 10 years old. Them man not thinking.
No, but you know what? But I think it was Gunnar.
I think we give too much credence to all that.
I think it was Gunnar Block who made a really good point about it. That I think it's less also about preparing for Anfield and more just trying to deliver a message in a different way. Because I think he delivers every training, every pre-match, every half-time, every post-match. Like it's always him. Like it's like how he had Stuart McFarlane, like doing the North London derby. You know, team talk. I think a way of delivering a different message, like a way to say Anfield's a big deal, is also I'll just show you it's a big deal by doing this.
If he had his way again, he wouldn't do that. And I'll tell you why. I'll tell you why he wouldn't do it, because he come out and said in games like this I froze at Anfield. These young kids are thinking, crikey, what the hell's going to happen when we go out there? Don't say all that. Just go out there, play your game. None of these speakers, don't need speakers. Don't even hear Neville walk along. You're in the tunnel when they're singing it anyway.
But I know now,
go out there and do it, man.
But if you look at that lineup though that we played last season at Anfield, completely different lineup.
Yeah.
You know, we couldn't even operate in the system that we play now. Because we had a 2-man pivot at that point.
Get used to feeling like this, because if we win this game, we'll feel like it every week.
I just feel that. I feel
it's
like
nothing to do with
just going back with the speakers and Anfield. Like, again, this is something that has been going on for decades. Everyone knows about Anfield. Everyone knows about the atmosphere. I know that Real Madrid came in the Champions League and they've done whatever to Liverpool, but things that what Arteta is doing, I believe, especially if we win the league, I believe it will be looked upon as being a genius. The same way like Arsene Wenger came in and changed the nutrition, the same way you brought in sports psychologists. Just because you brought No, but I'm saying things like no. Hold on, because this is the thing that the game always develops. Football always develops. You have to look at every little nook and cranny in terms of you've got to try everything. No one's tried that before, but that's the biggest thing, the psychological impact. I remember when I was doing at uni, I was doing a dissertation on the psychological effects of taking a penalty when there's no one there and when there's fans there, and there's a difference. There's always going to be a difference.
So you think you can replicate that by playing?
I'm not saying you can replicate it, but you can get to the players to the level where they're able to cope under that pressure.
Respectfully, I disagree.
That's cool. It's training the mind.
That was one of the most corniest things
you cannot tell me.
I understand why you've done it. It just didn't come
I don't.
off well.
You say that now, but if we win it and then the players come out and they say,
I think what we're going to say, I think that what Arteta needs to do is take a leaf or learn from last year. When he got embroiled with Klopp on the touchline, if anything, that was a pivotal moment. Avoid that stuff.
He's taken a leaf. This is the thing
that
where
team was much better than ours anyways. At least we're going to go into the team as the better team. You know what I'm saying?
I'm saying with Arteta, he takes a leaf out of different sports. He doesn't just look at football. He'll look at the NFL. He'll look at rugby.
That's fine.
No, but I'm saying, and he incorporates it into football. No one does that.
All I'm saying is
you know what I mean? No one does that. Everyone else does it. The NBA. Look at Michael Jordan. They're talking about when you're bouncing the ball on every little piece of the court. All those little things, bruv. It counts. It's no joke, bro.
The fine detail.
Yeah, 100%. 100%.
Get Rory's thoughts.
As my Nigerian friends like to say, nonsense.
Well, please.
Right.
My understanding from like a teaching and coaching point of view is that the weird, like corny things he's done, the light bulb, Stuart McFarlane, all of that sort of stuff, it's actually the thing that he's doing doesn't matter. It's that he's doing something weird, which means that whatever he's talking about, he gives a pre-match speech every game. It gets repetitive. By doing something weird, they're more likely to remember it on the pitch because they remember the weird thing he was doing next to it. It's like it's a trick that teachers use when they do weird things in class.
But it helps group cohesion as well.
I was just about to tell you, right? Like, so I'm a school teacher. So that is literally what I do. I teach PE, and when I teach GCSE, if I'm teaching them about the bones, I can sit there and tell them every single bone, or I can actually get them a skeleton and I can say to them, look, you're going to do partner work and maybe stick on different parts of where the bones are. So like the cranium, you get sticky notes and you stick it on, so you learn different ways. So for me, I do get that whole, it may seem corny, I actually don't mind what he did. It just, as I think Dan said, it just didn't come across right, but I don't actually disagree
It's a
with what you
winning kills all. You win, it's an amazing
It's a
idea.
group. It's group cohesion.
It's just
the way it helps the group. Arteta is bringing the players together. Exactly. Yeah. So for me, it's like he's bringing the group together so they can achieve the ultimate goal, which is to win the league. And if it means he's doing these weird things or out of pocket things, and we come at the end of the season and the players come out and they say, look, that team talk there or what he done there with the light bulb blew my mind.
What do you think he'll do for today?
That was last year, man.
I don't know.
Who cares?
We'll have to wait until the documentary on
We've
Amazon.
got a super chat from Dave Jordan. He says, he's quoting some of us, Patrick Vieira was unfairly sacked. Lol, come on, you Gunners. Dave, I'm not convinced Vieira doesn't get these results as well. But, you know, whatever. They responded well. Good luck to them.
I don't think any of us said that. We just said that it was ironic that now he's gone. People are
always.
I said it was unfair.
New manager bounce.
Oscar with the super chat says Liverpool haven't won since the 7-0 a month ago. They lost at Real Madrid, Bournemouth, City and drew with Chelsea. Their confidence will be low going into today. That's true, but then you think there might be a response. Listen, I think whatever Liverpool came into this game, I'd be wary of them. We're going to round it off there, everyone. Everyone here in this watch party will be back in about 15-20 minutes. Before I looked at my jumper that I do have a watch. In about 20 minutes for the watch along, 4:30 kickoff here UK time. Make sure you follow it as well. I'll be on. It's called the information station. We really need a new name for it, but I'll be there with Frank.
Put in the comments.
James's Corner.
What should we call it?
Good.
I like James's Corner.
Yeah, not Poets Corner.
It's not always me.
Yeah, James's Corner.
But sometimes
Dictionary Corner.
Cecil in
Yeah, but you're like the main man.
Oh, well, I'll take that. All right, we'll leave it on that. Thank you. Remember that NordVPN is keeping us invincible. Apparently, this AFTV match experience. Make sure you get the free AFTV special with 4 months free. See you very, very soon. Come on, Arsenal. Big, big game.
Let's go.
It's like I've had no freedom to just be myself. I keep getting restricted. It's like someone's watching me at home, on the train, even in the bathroom. It's making me see red!
Well, that's because London is red.
Oh yeah, I forgot about that.
Well, just to be sure, I'm going to prescribe you 2 years of NordVPN. You'll feel a better sense of self when you can explore the internet with freedom. And with next generation encryption on up to 6 devices, those feelings being watched will be gone.
Does that mean I can access new content on streaming services I've already subscribed to?
Just change your location in the app.
And I won't get tagged by any malware?
Nord's threat protection will have you covered.
And I can save money when travelling and shopping locally instead of internationally.
All you've got to do is click the link.
Oh, wow. Thank you, Doc.
All right, Ty.
No, I'm not right. It's a disgrace.
Charming.
Remember, with the AFTV special, you can get a bonus gift and there's a 30-day money-back guarantee.